Hello, viewer. Good morning, and welcome to this week's edition of the program Issues of the Moment. Issues of the Moment is a program where we discuss trending, current, and burning issues. And today, in this edition of the program, we shall be looking at the topic I titled Effects of Climate Change on Livestock Production. My name is Gospel Ede, your regular host on the program. And to do justice to the topic of today, or the issue at stake, I have two guests in the studio. I have Professor Adua Mango. He is a livestock specialist, and he is from the Nasarawa State University, Faculty of Agriculture here in Lafia. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, and also in the studio, as usual, my regular host, my guest in this particular program, Mr. Ango Adamu. He is the Executive Secretary, Young Men Christian Association, Mother Hills, Lafia, and he is also the State Coordinator, African Activist for Climate Justice. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we've been discussing quite a number of issues that pertains or concerns climate change and the effect on the environment, on agriculture, and so many. We've discussed quite a number on this platform. And today we are taking our discussion further to look at the effect on livestock, talking about animal husbandry, how such situation of climate change affect the production of livestock in our society. And so that is the focus of our discussion today. But before we go into, asking our specialist who is in the studio, Professor Mango, I would like to ask my regular guest, who is the coordinator of African Activists for Climate Justice, Mr. Ango Adamu, to give us a brief, highlights, about the impact of climate change on agricultural activities globally. I want you to shed more light. We've been discussing this, and so give us a kind of background to our discussion today.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm a regular person in this platform, and this program is supported by Oxfam in Nigeria with funding from Ministry of External Affairs, Netherlands, as their contribution to supporting African countries to mitigate the effect of climate change. So generally, as we have been discussing in the past few months, climate change has a very diverse effect on the globe, on human beings, on livestock, on agriculture generally. So greenhouse emissions that is coming from multilaterals, from big nations, is affecting everybody around the globe. So we feel as for our farmers in Nasarawa State to remain relevant, or livestock people to still remain their business, what can we do? We're here to be sensitizing the people that, look, because of effect of climate change, we cannot do 1, 2, 3. That is why from time to time we bring a specialist to discuss and help us advise our farmers, what can we do? So generally, because of the effect of climate change on the globe, we feel Ministry of External Affairs, Netherlands, feel this is their support to African countries because they are one of those contributing to this effect. So they say, okay, can you help sensitize people? What can you do locally as a coping mechanism? So that's why we're here.
All right. Thank you so much. Like you heard from Mr. Ango, that has been the background. He has actually laid the background to what we've been doing here to refresh our memory, exactly what we've discussed quite a number of times on this platform. Okay, now today we are shifting our attention majorly to the issue of climate change on livestock production. And our expert in the studio, a specialist in that field, Professor Adua Mango, would like you to, give us, how does climate change affect livestock production?
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's important to note that if you're generally asking what's climate change or global warming, we're talking about long shift terms of temperature.
Okay.
Yes, over a period of time. As a result, it's as a result of the climate change or the global warming. It brings about high temperatures, as a matter of fact, that in the planet Earth, it affects not only animals, but generally affects life.
Sure.
All right? So, and there are major aspects that lead to that because of, number one, because of the solar activities, the changes in the seasons. Yeah, and in the solar system, it leads to what we're experiencing, and that is a natural cause, as a matter of fact. The second is the human activities which serve as drivers to causing the global warming or the climate change itself. And how do they do that? By all these our industries, very, very big industries who are in production, and they require a lot of energy. You have greenhouse emission that also cause this climate change or leading to very high temperature that affects lives and also livestock, as a matter of fact. And as a result of this, it leads to heat stress in the animals. Yeah. And causing a lot of conditions in the animal production. Yes.
Okay, let us know in specific terms in which aspects of animal production that is most or largely or majorly affected by climate change. You know, animal, we have the meat, we have the milk, we have so many things about animal. And let us know which aspect of the animal is mostly affected by the issue of climate change.
Well, generally speaking, when you know that you have heat stress, either human or animals, you cannot conduct and behave yourself the same. And your output cannot be the same in what things ever you are doing. They can never be the same. We know what life here is for, all right? Whether it's raining or it's not raining, you know the heat that we experience. And if you have a cooling system, you put it to work during this period. And so it leads to the production of the animals. In terms of what we get from animals, is usually we get milk and we get meat from the, these are the major components that we get from animals for growth in terms of replacing the worn-out tissues like protein in the body and building up of the system. And the major aspects are in this product is either the meat or in the milk production that we are getting from, particularly the ruminants. It's either cattle or it is sheep and goat that will get this milk and product from. All right? So it affects them in terms of production. It lowers the production, as a matter of fact. And coming to estrus, and probably that leads to pregnancy and probably reproduction of the young one. All this stress affects these animals, and they are not able to give you exactly what you expected. Yes. So that is exactly what happened. And also disease infection in animals. You know, when the weathers are very good, the rains are down, you know, the animals are calm on themselves. And just like I said, even in humans, that when you have a good weather, you'll be able to do your best. But when the environment is not there, you will not be able to do anything, as a matter of fact. So it affects largely production, reproduction, and production in terms of the meat yield, and also the milk production. Yes, it affects the climate change, affects the animals in such ways. And so you're not able to get what you're supposed to get. Yeah, it lowered the production of animal, and sometimes it leads to death of the animal.
So maybe in clear terms, are you suggesting that if an animal is expected to reproduce like twice in a year, does it affect that cycle? Or maybe it's supposed to reproduce like 3 or 4. Does it affect the number of the reproduction that the animal is expected to do?
Well, you know, a healthy animal or a healthy life. When we're talking about production or reproduction, you're looking at the condition. First, you have to determine the health of the status of the health of the animal before he can give you anything.
Okay.
And therefore, in situations where you have disease infection, the animal may not be able to completely produce.
Okay.
So it has to be put back into a healthy situation or the state before it's able to do any meaningful reproduction or production.
Okay.
I'm talking about production in terms of the meat yield and also the meat also production. So all these factors are affected by the reason of sometimes the global warming and disease infection that arise as a result of these things. And the animal's physiology and the chemistry of the body, it affects the change, and therefore they are not able to produce or reproduce.
Okay.
Yes.
It's all right. Let's look at it this way. Can we attribute global warming to the prevailing, or let's say one of the major challenges we have today in this part of the world, talking about herders farmers clashes that we have in this part of the world? Can this also be attributed to that? Maybe for lack of good pasture, water, and the rest of them?
Yes. You know, we're talking about population explosion.
Okay.
All right? Yeah. So the earth now, I understand that, like we're just discussing, that it might be shifting from about 7 billion to 8 billion of people. You know what that means. And everyone is looking for greener pasture. Nobody wants to stay in the village and effect any meaningful production that can go around and take care without necessarily the intervention of government.
Sure.
And therefore, what we're saying is that there's a lot of population, and everybody who is alive and a human being, whether sick or is well, he also needs to eat and to drink.
Exactly.
Yes. So this, as a result of this, it affects a lot of the population and also even the animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, let me hear from Mr. Ango. Still talking about the issue of herders farmers clashes. When you talk about animal production or animal husbandry, majorly you look at the major people who are into these activities that comes with large-scale violence and the rest of them are the herders and the rest of them. So what would be your, do you think is responsible for this? Though Prof has just told us that it could be as a result of population explosion and that. I don't know whether you have an addition to that.
Yeah, well, I'm not an expert in this field,
Yes,
but I think from what I've been seeing, we know that resources, competition for resources is a key factor, just like Prof already mentioned. In the past, we didn't have problems of availability of pasture for animals to feed.
Exactly.
But nowadays, you see them migrating from the north to the central part of Nigeria and then go down to the south where there is green pasture. So because the resources, water bodies are drying up, any small water body in the community, that is where the cattle will also want to drink from there.
Okay.
That will result to clashes. Where there are no enough green pasture for them to feed, they attempt to feed on people's crops. And because the land that was vacant was left unused because of population, every piece of land now is occupied. So where would they go? Passages where they can pass to go for grazing are no longer there. And these are as a result of gradual effect of climate change. Heating up the earth, places are drying up where there used to be water before, you don't find water. So they keep moving to where they can get these things. And where they cannot, there's bound to be conflict. Anytime there is meager resources and the people are more than the resources available, there will be interest.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, I want to add to
Okay,
it.
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, we'll look at the herdsmen, as a matter of fact. This is their private business, but it's in colossal form in terms of quantity, and they are contributing immensely to the economic development of the country.
Very well.
In terms of supply of protein.
Of course.
All right. So you discover that this livestock are in the hands of the herders themselves, all right, without any necessary intervention anywhere. But if probably provisions could be made, all right, or probably settling these people, all right, so that's what we call an extensive system of management. Okay. And you keep moving around, the animal is not properly taken care of. Even trekking, if you have, for example, you have livestock here, and a herdsman would leave Lafayette and trek all the way, passing through the bushes with all the hazards, snake bites and all of those.
Of course.
And dirty waters that they will have to drink. You will have to pass through and return back to where probably they are settled. All right? So you discover that what the animal has taken, especially in this dry season period, you discover that what the animal takes is not commensurate with the energy that you deploy in going there. And therefore, that is one. Secondly, the traits of the animals, the build-up of the body system. You discover that, like the Frisian cattle owned by maybe in Europe, you have their cattle different from our own because of the genetic traits of such animals.
Sure.
All right? So whatever you do, especially that we're not helping, if there's something that can be done to improve this production by reason of probably providing land for pastoral forage for these animals and settle even this cattle rearer and encourage the people at the state to keep this livestock. But predominantly that in the hands of people who inherited that by reason of tradition.
Of course.
All right? But if we want to add color, we want to improve our production, then we must take it beyond the traditional method. And so that we can move forward. Now, we're talking about population explosion. You discover that everything is virtually scarce. Now, even the cattle routes that link the southern part of this country and the northern part, all these already have been taken over by cultivated crops.
Developed as houses and the rest of them.
That's exactly. So you discover there are a lot of clashes as a result of this. But the way to mitigate this is by settling these people. I think the government came up with a program, National Livestock Development Program, right?
National Livestock Transformational Development Program.
That's exactly.
Yes, exactly.
If you have such, where you grow pasture and you have settlement for the cattle rearers, all right? And even the indigents can go into all these things. All right? You have pasture. I remember research institutes like the NAPRI in Zaria. All right? They are into research. You have a lot of seats, as a matter of fact. In my faculty as it is now, we have dedicated a part of the land there to do research on pasture development. As a bank, as a matter of fact. And I think that this should supposed to be a platform of synergy between the farmers and the research institutes also. Talking about the universities and the available research institutes like the National Veterinary Research Institute involved, the NAPRI that we have in Zaria. All these things are available. And I'm sure government have made a lot of facilities and offers that farmer can access it. And I think they need awareness. That's the most important thing.
Very well.
To assess these facilities. Yeah, that's just what it is.
Okay, in the interim, you talk about government, making, providing the leeway or the mitigating way for the people. What do you think? How can the small-scale farmers, those who are just, local farmers, small animal, rearers, and the rest of them, what do you think they need to do before government intervention?
Well, just like I said, I have a knowledge of what we call the Anko Bora program. I'm sure maybe you have heard about that.
Exactly.
By the CBN.
Yes.
And these facilities are available for farmers to access. All right? Government has made that available. And I think the present emphasis is on agricultural production.
Exactly.
Yes. So the facilities are available. Happy enough, and all you need to do is to contact a respected institution and assess the facilities.
The requirement seems to be tedious.
Well, you know what it means. The resources are usually referred to as, what is the economist term that they use, that the resources are I think they are meager, or they are...
Is this insatiable or something?
Yeah, it's a term that I actually would have loved to use. They are scarce.
Okay, scarce.
Resources are scarce.
All right.
So if you don't put a way of doing things, there must be a culture, a way of doing things.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you have issues, you can raise a voice, and things can be done to facilitate the accessing of the facility,
okay,
and make life easy for people. Because if you don't do that, people will access the facility and go and do some other how. And usually you discover that people are not very patient to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Farming activities commence maybe yearly, annually, during maybe by May or there.
Sometimes even April.
Sometimes even April. So what do you do right from October when there's no rain? I mean, you just locate these facilities and assess them and wait for this time to come.
Exactly.
Yes. And if you have issues, you raise your voice. And I'm sure because they have made these provisions, they will have ears also to listen.
Okay.
Yeah. I think government has done well as far as that is concerned.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Do you have anything
Maybe to add, I like the conversation. I think if the research institutions of the government, or because of lack of knowledge, sorry, from our own side,
Yes.
in crops, I know we have tolerant varieties.
Sure.
I don't know whether something like that is done in livestock. I don't know the correct word.
Yeah.
Whether there are species of animals that
Exactly.
can still
In fact, I was even coming
survive.
to that question for Prof, but maybe when you
can
finish
still
there.
survive
Yeah.
in spite of all these hardships.
Exactly.
So that they don't run out of business. You go to village, every house you find chickens, one goat, one pig, one ram, so on and so forth.
Sure.
So this category of people, they are the ones feeding this country. And they are the ones that are most hit as a result of climate change.
Exactly.
So, sir, what can they still do locally? What local mitigation strategies can they still do to still remain in business while assessing the one you've proposed for?
Exactly. And the question is actually, what types of livestock should they keep?
Well, there are a variety of livestock and poultry.
Okay.
All right. The ruminant one we know of, popularly the cattle. All right. The sheep and the goat.
Okay.
Yeah. We have the different types of breeds. All right. We have the local varieties. All right. Yeah. That can withstand the temperature and hardship despite what is happening. Even in the cattle.
Okay.
We have some breeds of cattle that can withstand.
Okay.
All right. Even in our cattle, the white Fulani that is very popular. Yeah, it can withstand that. Or that the disease many that affect them, what we call trypanosomiasis,
Okay.
or what we refer to as trypanosomosis, and the recent development. That these animals, even with the disease, there's a word tolerant. They are tolerant. When the disease is, even they can survive.
What kind of disease is that?
Yeah, that's trypanosomosis. Yes,
if you
that's
translate
the
it,
name of the disease. But
what does it do to the animal?
It destroys the blood cells of the animals.
Okay.
Yes, and also bring about lower productivity in such animals.
Okay.
Yeah, and some of these cattle are trypanotolerant, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so they can survive.
Okay.
All right, and especially in Africa or probably in Nigeria, the breeds of cattle, the breeds of sheep and goat that we have, there are types that can survive hardship. There's no doubt about.
Okay.
Yes, these are local varieties that have stayed here for maybe thousands of years. All right, and we don't have issues with that, as a matter of fact. But probably if you have to bring in, probably import some of the, like I talk about Frisian, all right, some breeds from Europe and some other countries, developed world, and you bring them, they're attacked by this disease, you will not be able to survive.
Okay.
Besides the feeding. Yeah. So what we're saying is that our local variety can survive. There's no doubt about it.
Okay.
Yes, they can survive this. If cattle, all right, cannot, because there's a lot to cattle, as a matter of fact, when it comes to feeding. Yeah, apart from grazing on grasses and legumes. Yeah, if you want to do this, depending on the system you want to practice, if it's an extensive system that you see everybody moving around with his cattle, what happens during the dry season? The animals become emaciated,
Okay.
and the production levels also go down. Yes, it's only in the rain or wet seasons that they pick up again. But if you want to do real business, that's what we call the intensive system of production.
Okay.
And that means that you will have to get the cereals, compound their rations, and feed them, and then you have to settle in a particular place. Or talking about the intensive system of management. So be able to take care of the cattle in terms of disease infection, apart from feeding the animals. And you're assessing them, their productivity level in terms of the size, in terms of the quantity of meat, the quality. The other aspects of production like calving, that's giving back to the younger ones.
Okay.
And then production of milk, all right? If we'll have to embark on an intensive system of management and not all this one that you move around. There's a lot of hazards, as a matter of fact. We have overgrown this. Yeah, let's move ourselves forward. And looking at the chunk of the population that we have already on ground, then we must have to maybe, by way of looking at the government, some deliberate policies and settlement of these livestock producers, and encouraging even the indigents to pick up on production, as a matter of fact.
Exactly.
Yes, it will help us to move forward. But if we are going to continue with the extensive system of carry animals and going around, we are not even free ourselves. We know of the conflict and people being killed outside.
Yeah.
Farmers and the herders themselves.
Yeah.
All these things, we all know them. And with the present situation in our country, cattle rustling, banditry, and all kinds of things that are happening as it is today, that if we must move forward, must deliberately do something about these situations.
All right, viewer, in case you just joined us, the program is Issues of the Moment on MBS TV, and I've been having a conversation with Professor Adua Mango. He is a livestock specialist with the Nasarawa State University Faculty of Agriculture in Lafia, and also in the studio is Mr. Ango Adamu, who is the Executive Secretary, YMCA, and the State Coordinator of African Justice for Climate Change. We'll be taking a short break, after which we will continue our conversation. We'll be right back.
Dear esteemed viewer, you can't afford to miss your weekly most cherished current affairs program, Issues of the Moment on NBS TV. Issues of the Moment is a 1-hour live discussion and phone-in program that engages government functionaries, technocrats, captains of industries, public commentators and intellectuals on burning state and national matters of public interest. Join us every Saturday by 10 a.m. with your host, Godspar AD, as we review, analyze, and proffer solutions to the challenges of our society. Issues of the Moment live, engaging, analytical, and revealing.
All right, you're welcome back, and the program is Issues of the Moment. The topic we're considering today is the effect of climate change on livestock production. I have in the studio, still with me here, is Professor Adua Mango of the department, he is a livestock specialist from the Faculty of Agriculture, Nasarawa State University, Kefi, Lafia campus, and also Mr. Ango Adamu, the Executive Secretary, YMCA, and State Coordinator of African Activists for Climate Justice. They're in the studio. Well, to reach us on this program, if you want to be part of this conversation, the number to reach us is 070-1101-9369. The number will be on your television screen for you to be part of the conversation if you care to join us in this conversation. Yeah, our lines are already open, but before then, we would like to continue with our conversation. Once again, you're welcome back from the short break.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Let's continue with our conversation as we await calls from our listeners. Okay, I think we have a call on the line here. Hello. Yes, good morning, sir.
My name is Nadia.
Yeah.
I can barely hear you. Can you speak audible, please?
Can you hear me now?
Not really exactly. Just call back, please. All right. Let's proceed. We're talking about government policies on livestock. Government policies. What policies should the government promote in order to reduce the impact of climate change on livestock? Let's try this one. Hello? Yes, good morning. We'll get back to you, please. Let's get some things correct. Sir, go ahead, sir.
Yes. Like I said, the major thing that affects the issue of climate change,
Yeah,
we must all, not only government alone,
yeah,
we must all come together because it's affecting the entire planet, as a matter of fact.
exactly.
And what I say is that men have been the drivers
Sure.
of this system, as a matter of fact, and I talked about the burning of fossil fuels.
Yeah,
All right,
yeah,
the natural gas,
Sure.
flaring, exploration, and all those
Exactly.
doing. And we recently heard that we will no longer, probably in some years to come, some people now use electricity to drive vehicles
Yeah.
to mitigate this type of thing. And instead of blowing your car with all the gas and affecting the environment, probably we need to probably use a bicycle, taking walks, and a lot of things like that.
Yeah.
But maybe for issue of planes, maybe taking a plane from one place to another,
Yeah.
I think it's not always having any issues like what we have with cars filled everywhere.
Exactly.
And the exhaust everywhere is filled with, and at the end of the day, you discover that we'll have this issue of global warming.
Exactly.
And it, at the end of the day, affects our productivity, our lifestyle, and our animals at the end of the day. Well, I think we will need to talk to ourselves. I also understand that the IPCC, meaning the Integrated Panel on the Climate Change.
Okay.
Yeah, they just met recently, and I think in Paris, and I think in April, and have drawn some way forward, and have given the approval of that. About 195 countries,
All
they
right.
gather together and seeing the way forward. But well, I think that's a good omen,
Okay.
so that we can reduce, all right, can reduce the issue of global warming.
All right.
By reason of this deliberate meetings and probably effect policies that can bring change and help us to move forward.
Okay.
I think that would be quite good.
All right.
The entire world, not only in Nigeria, so to speak.
All right. Thank you so much, Prof.
Yeah.
Well, the number to reach us, I think, is on your television screen. You can still call us 07011019369 with a dial. I think you'll be part of this conversation. Prof. Okay, let's pick this call.
Hello, Benji.
Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Your name and where you're calling from?
You better just do that.
Mike Jin Turenchi? Oh. So, eto, we are muna program na Turenchi ne kin kira kuma da Hausa. Anyway, to shikenan, maybe ko zaki kira da zuwa anjima ko? Thank you so much. All right, Prof.
Yeah.
Let us know what is the consumption rate of livestock products in Nigeria. Let's pick this call. Hello?
Hello, my name is Abdullah
Okay, Abdullah from where?
from Doma.
Abdullah from Duma. Okay, you are welcome to the program. Can you quickly go ahead and ask your question?
I'm sure about this farmers that about livestock.
Yeah.
I wish they were around the
the last community when we were at home.
Okay.
So we find out that most farmers now, they are farming old over, like the man, let me use the man in yellow.
Okay.
Was saying it before.
Yes.
That everywhere people are moving down to town to farm. So I want to give one advice to the professor where they can find a way to try to come and how to do it. That let there be a portion of land, a very vast portion of land.
Yep.
The government will not acquire it so that those who are the farm, maybe the farmers now will move to that place and graze for this season.
Okay.
The next season, farmers will now move to the farm place. Then the headers will now move to the farm place. They will now use this place and do their grazing, while farmers now go and enjoy the manure that the headers produce in the other portion.
All right.
Let's say farmers will use portion A for this season and farm. Then maybe next year again, then they will now move to portion B.
All right.
The farmers will move and come back to portion A and do their grazing.
All right.
So that they are changing between them in this thing. So if these people use this place by this year, then the next season they now move. So that there will be no fight. They should create a place. Because no farmer, people don't know how to acquire land by themselves. This is a culture of them to travel far and where they start to pasture for their cattle.
All right.
So that is just my little advice.
Thank you so
very
much,
good.
Abdullahi, for your contribution and advice on the program. You heard him.
Yeah.
I think he was talking about, is it shifting cultivation? Yes, where maybe if the animals reside here this year, farmers farm there, and then the farmers can come back to the portion where the animals reside the next year and things like that. So what would be, do you concur with him, or what is professionally right in this case?
I like to say that we all know by reason of land law that the land entirely belongs to the state.
Let's pick this call. Hello? Hello?
My name is Dambari.
Dongwari?
Dambariki.
Dambariki, okay. Dambariki, you're welcome to the program.
My full name is Nasir Hamza Shatima.
Nasir Shatima, okay.
I am from Lagos.
From Lagos. Oh, this is serious. Calling us from Lagos.
Wow.
Well, okay, go ahead.
Like I said, the land itself, as far as the laws are concerned, you have the traditional owners of
the land.
But in the entirety of it, the whole land, as far as government is concerned, the land belongs to government.
Exactly.
If she wants to do whatever she wants to do at any moment, she can always resettle people and do whatever it is.
Exactly.
But the good news, like I said earlier on, that the best thing to go about all these things is that when you look at the livestock production, generally speaking, all right, but referring to cattle production, it's something that is spearheaded and by herdsmen, particularly the Fulani people, all right?
Yeah.
The cattle is in their hands, and this is private business, so to speak.
Sure.
All right? But if government can probably help to improve on this, on the productivity, then just like what this guy is saying, it's possible to designate areas. I think that the National Livestock Production Program.
That is exactly what it is.
So already they are working on it, and they have designated places. I think they launched in a way some time ago,
Exactly.
which is a good development as a matter of fact, where you have a chunk of these people residents, all right? And I think it's the way forward.
Sure.
It takes care of situations like what our friend has just asked.
Very well.
Yes.
He particularly mentioned Mr. Angu. Can you respond to him, the area that affects your input?
Well, I think I sincerely and I completely agree with what Abdullah said from Doma. It's because of lack of resources, scarce resources. In terms of water bodies, in terms of land, that is where people are moving. But if farmers or herders are going to be settled in a particular area, crops are cultivated in one site, and then cow dung is accumulated the other side. Then next year you rotate it, and you even have better yield in terms of crop and the livestock itself.
Exactly.
So I completely agree with what Abdullah said.
Okay.
And if we work that way, that would be good enough for the state.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to add to that.
Okay.
That I think the issue of settling the herders is the most important. We cannot keep doing the things of yesterday in today again.
Exactly.
It's not helping us. Yeah. As a result of population explosion, you're having conflict already. And like we said earlier on, already the cattle routes that they used to from north to south and south to the north, they are no more there.
They're not there.
They are no more there.
Exactly.
And therefore,
Let's pick this caller. Hello? Hello, good morning. Go ahead, sir.
I think that government's intervention will make a lot of sense in the way forward,
Okay.
as far as this is concerned.
Okay, we would like to know whether we have, what do you call it, enough livestock. I mean, we want to know the consumption rate of livestock products in Nigeria. I don't know whether you have such a statistics.
Yeah, it depends on the species, the breeds of animal, you know, the feeding of such animals, like the ruminant animals, particularly cattle, sheep, and goats, depending on their sizes.
Let's pick this caller. Hello? Hello? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, the way ruminant animals are made, like, I'm talking about 4 stomach animals, like cattle, sheep, and goat.
Okay.
All right? The ones that have 1 stomach, like the birds and the pig and some others. But the 4 stomach animal, the ruminant,
Yeah.
it grazes 247 as far as that is concerned. All right? What it is that it has a store that it eats.
No,
and
sir,
store.
I don't know, consumption rate, how Nigerians,
Yes.
consume such a livestock product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's pick the caller. Hello?
Hello, sir.
Yes, good morning.
My name
Your name is who? Go ahead and tell us your name.
Fatima
Fatima from where?
from Azara.
From Azara. Okay, what do you have to say? I understand.
For last year now.
Okay, you are in Lafia.
Yes.
I understand that there is this livestock transformational project is situated around your area. Okay, do you have anything to say about that, or what is your contribution?
It's very fine.
It's fine, right?
Yes.
Okay, is that all you have to say now?
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Fatima.
Please, what is your name? You.
Oh, interesting. Well, I'm the host, the presenter of this program. The name is okay. Thank you so much. Okay, go ahead, sir.
yeah, we're talking about the consumption. Yeah. We discover that the consumption rate of the meat product, or generally of the animal
Let's pick
product,
this last caller. Okay, go ahead, sir.
the consumption rate, I look at it as from the point of resources and affordability.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But you discover that everybody on an average looks like a beggar, as a matter of fact. And protein is a very important aspect of nutrition. All right? That what it does is it builds the body system.
Exactly.
And replaces the worn out tissues of the body. But the issue of consumption is about the issue of affordability,
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
matter of fact.
Exactly.
I discover that you get students in the campus, somebody is saying, even the food, the energy supply for not even the protein, that he will tell you that 101
Or
or
001.
or 00.
Or whatever.
But protein is a very essential element of nutrients.
All right, sir.
Yeah.
The time is not really on our side.
Okay.
I've been signaled to
Okay.
do and wrap up here. But talking about awareness, we want to know what is your organization doing in creating the necessary awareness on the issue of climate change that could internalize this message to the
Well,
public?
as far as African Activists for Climate Justice Project in Nasarawa State is concerned, our mandate is to continually educate small-scale farmers to amplify voices and see how we can learn from one another using their local coping mechanisms. I like what the Ministry of Environment did last 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
We were invited, all NGOs and CBOs that have something to do with climate change. We met at the office of the Honorable Commissioner, courtesy of the Director of Climate Change, who were here. So they asked us, what are you doing as far as climate change is concerned? And we came together as a group. We are even proposing our activities, share with the ministry, and see how we can move forward. I know the ministry is in the forefront of trying to promote tree planting in schools and everywhere. So every organization like YMCA want to key into this kind of activities. We want to continually to be creating awareness. We are going to do training, you know, for people to be able to know, you know, get information from NIMET as to how weather affects planting seasons, so that people can get information and they still remain relevant in their businesses.
So your final take, especially advice to the government.
Yeah, you know, this is enormous, as a matter of fact, the issue of climate change, of the global warming we're talking about. If we have to help ourselves in respect to livestock production, if the livestock farmers can be settled in specific areas, designated areas, and then provide for fodder, all right, pasture we're talking about, for these animals to feed on, and then provide for dams where you will have water supply to drink. I think it will go a long way to help us. And that would mitigate as far as this is concerned. And the issue of conflicts, it will reduce that, as a matter of fact.
Exactly.
So my take is government should not be tired to intervene in this. And so far, like I've said, facilities are available at the central bank. There are projects already and programs drawn. And already they have started. And the issue, I understand that some persons have been brought in for the issue of quickly seeing how they can probably start a project on the pasture production in our state, not even in the country as it is.
Thank you so much, Professor Adua Mango, for
you
your very vital and useful contributions on the program today. Also, Mr. Ango Adamu, my regular guest on this program.
Thank you.
He will soon transform into my co-presenter. Well, viewer, we want to sincerely thank you for being there with us on the program, and we hope to come back next week with another interesting package of issues of the moment. On behalf of my guest in the studio and everyone, for those who call and those who attempted to call and it wasn't possible, we say thank you so much. Join us again next week. My name is Gospel Aide. Bye.
Thank you.